Welcome to another episode of D2C Unboxed. Thanks a lot, Prejit, for making it today. It's a good Friday, but I hope that it turns out to be a better Friday for you.
Every Friday is a good Friday for us, so looking forward.
Perfect, yeah. So, as I was speaking to you just before, right, the idea behind doing this are multi-levels. One important part for us is that if there is any college graduate who's looking forward to build a career in e-commerce, right, they understand the business, they understand the nuances, they understand what are the paths to be taken, what are the roadblocks to be avoided. That's one part of it. Second part of it would stay to be if anybody is starting a venture, any D2C venture anywhere, and they would want to know about different channels, they would want to understand around different problem statements to be addressed. And they are the ones who cannot basically have a good top 25 CBOs of India, right? He cannot afford that part. Then he should be able to understand what are the things that he should directly be doing, he or she should directly be doing. And third part is extremely selfish reason. I'm new to D2C space and I want to talk to a lot of people.
Sure. Happy to have this conversation. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. First of all, congratulations on being listed as one of the top 25 CBOs in India.
Thank
How
you.
does it feel?
Feels good. I think suddenly the expectation also is going up. So yeah, looking forward to maintaining that.
Let's say when
like in some of the people in office, they came to me yesterday and said, I have seen you, but I never knew what you did. Can you please explain? So that was a very strange conversation that I had with few people. I never expected that, somebody will never know what I was doing in office. So yeah, especially from marketing, it's like, what do you mean by CBO? What exactly do you do? So yeah, that was a good part for me. Like suddenly people are curious about, what is this? Is this a sales head role? Is it a marketing head role? What do you mean? Like, so I try to explain by saying that all revenue functions I manage. Like, then you go one more level. What do you mean by all revenue functions? So it's a good conversation starter for sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like people are there always in your life to keep you grounded.
Absolutely.
You might end up getting all these prestigious, fancy awards, but then people would come to your door and say, "Hey, but karte kya ho?"
Absolutely. Like on the way here, like distributor was calling and saying, there's a year end. Like everything is good, but I didn't make my 0.25% for whatever X reason. I have nowhere else to go. You solve it for me. I don't care. So you can have all the fancy titles that you have, but at the end of the day, you're answerable to a lot of people who put their money in.
But yeah, when you're starting off, one is starting off their career. They always have aspirations that this is what one wants to become. Kabhi, anytime in childhood or MBA or before that or after that, was it one of the ambitions that I want to be like one of the more influential CXOs of the industries?
Honestly, like at least till college, engineering, I never had any kind of corporate dream. But instinctively, I was always kind of in a leadership position or a role within the friend circle. Like I started a small club when I was in third standard, where I used to call all the local people and used to set up the caroms, chess, everything, and they can give me 10 rupees and I'll ensure that every day 4 o'clock that is ready for them to play. Few such small examples that I remember, like all those carol parties, etc. Like everything from a revenue backward perspective, I used to ensure that I get some money every month to X or Y.
Making money since you were this young.
Like I was very sure that I'm not a entrepreneur from the beginning because my a family has tried it and. It's always a scary part to become an entrepreneur. So I was always thinking that how do I become, if that's not the first best option, what's the second best option? Then going into engineering, I realized that that's not my cup of tea, even though I completed electronics engineering. So that's when I think I started a focused approach to career. After engineering, I realized that if I joined IBM as an engineer, and I realized that that's definitely not me. I'm not able to just go to office, code and give it, and then I was just completely out of my elements. So then I prepared for CAT and then got into IIM Bangalore. And from there, it's almost, I would say it's a very planned journey where I want to be. I know that I don't want to be a consultant. So I went into a kind of a general management profile. From there, maybe we can talk more in detail. But after that, it was a very planned one.
Very planned. But was the ambition there after MBA that, okay, I want to be in this direction, and I want to be a CXO, let's say a
Absolutely,
decade afterwards.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
Ambition and drive was there always.
Always, I wanted to be in a place where to be very selfish, like somewhere known, somewhere making some impact. That was always there for sure. Even in Bangalore, first year, first day, randomly you can choose, you can raise your hand and you can stand for a class representative election. You don't have to do anything else. You just have to raise your hand. And from there, you stand for an election, then you become a president, and then you can do.
You were a president over there.
Yeah, before, president is a journey.
Okay.
But class representative was only 3 people raised their hand. I still don't know why the rest of the people didn't raise their hand. So the probability is very high if only 3 people are there. Yeah.
When you take a shot, things happen. Shit happens.
Yeah. When I went into the class that day, I never thought I want to be a class representative, and that was a precondition to become a president. So that was never in the plan. So it just happened that one moment, somebody asked who want to be a class representative, raised the hand, and then president happened. And because of that, I feel I got into ABG a large portion because of this role. I still feel because the leadership program, and they were looking for somebody with, you don't have to prove it again that you are already a Gen Sec or a president in a campus. So the PPO was going to happen. So then everything started falling in place.
Makes sense. So you're saying entrepreneurship was not my cup of tea that I realized earlier, but the entrepreneurial nature was always there.
Correct.
And you were like, I want to execute it while working with a firm which is known and doing good, and I want to do something good over there, and I can make that shit happen.
Absolutely. I think it's a realization that even my father started a few companies. Idea was always good, but he was very bad in managing the financial part of it. And I think that's the same DNA that I have. So it's always that either you are good at something or you hire somebody good to do that, right? So even if I ever start a company, I will need somebody who knows how to manage the. I need a great CFO. Let me put it that way, because that's one area that I'm not sure that I'm there at. Because little bit you need to be slightly more. Not very creative, right? You have to be like, this is like you have to be paid in 30 days. On 29th day, I'm going to come and sit in your house. That's a very different attitude. And that attitude, along with a very creative jugaad attitude, is very difficult. I've not seen it in many people. Even in boAt, I would say Aman is like me and Samir is like the great the back-end CFO who is very, very clear on what he wants. So you need a combo to happen.
So both the things complement each other well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Makes sense. I guess what you were just mentioning, and I was just thinking about myself as well. And I was like, I always thought that I need somebody at the back end who is making sure that the finance part of it, the operational part of it is taken care of, and I can be doing much more creative things that can yield some other results.
Absolutely. That's a dream position if you get somebody like that.
And trying. Great, man, great. So we'll start, as we said that, one of the things that we're trying to do is lead people towards their careers as well, right? So let's start with your first leadership stint, leadership program at Aditya Birla. So how did that happen? This was a PPO back there at the college.
Correct. So basically it was a summer placement for internship. I go through that. And that also I feel sometimes destiny or karma, whatever you call it, my dream was to get into PNG sales.
Everybody wants to do that. FMCG, hardcore sales.
Like in the pecking order, it was like IB, which I said like finance is not my cup of tea, so not even an option. Second was consultants, McKinsey, Bain, etc., which I didn't want to, and maybe I would not have gotten into also. Which, either ways. So the third best option was FMCG, and I always thought of myself as a good sales guy. And in that, PNG was the best option. So I was in that interview. It was at 6:30 a.m. I still remember. At 7 o'clock, they said they need 10 minutes to decide for saying whether you got placed or not in day one. By the time the ABG guys have rolled out the offer, so by rule, you have to take the one that you have to do. But I think that happened for the great reason, because I really enjoyed my stint in Aditya Birla Group at that time. Then internship got converted into a PPO, and post PPO, one of the best stints I've still done in my life because over a year I've done like 4 different things and very, very unique things. I think I started off with more hypermarket.
Okay.
There I was given a bakery project. So I was
Okay.
standing in Bangalore Mahadevpura more store with a cake or something in my hand, freshly baked, trying to sell it to the people. Seriously, yeah. I mean, it was fun. It was very
Like
out of my
you're
element.
standing in the bakery and like, are you saying people are passing you?
We're
The
passing
people.
by. Like, so basically, first, like everybody, I started off with thinking that I'm a manager. You know, I'm getting paid so much. I'm from an MBA. You know, I'll do all the Excel work. But the store manager was actually another ABG program senior.
Yeah.
He's like, with like this, you're not going to learn anything. Like, don't even come to my store. If you want to learn, then as the cliche says, you know, go stand in the floor.
Yeah.
So I did that. I don't speak Kannada much, but I can at least understand.
Okay.
So it was a fun experience. So then I understand why are they not buying? Like some very, very fundamental basics of, and the difficult part. Even today, if somebody in a store try to sell me something, I have that in the bag, some love for that person. But you know, the rejection feels painful.
Do you end up buying more just because of that?
No, I can't afford it. But at least that pain is there. The rejection is real. When somebody says no to your face like 100 times a day, it's difficult.
But did you end up hearing more no's as you went along with the journey at this part?
Absolutely, absolutely, right? Because you're trying to force fit something to somebody, right? Like they are there, they know what they want to buy.
Correct.
At the end of the day, I think the entire store layout is to ensure that people are ready to choose and buy what they want to, not force fit anything. But it was like you're trying to, and I was trying to put a internship into it. Like the idea was after four stints, I have to convince some of the senior leader to hire me.
Oh.
It was like another, almost like a college.
So it's like within the organization, you think you're somebody would end up hiring you after that,
like,
right?
see, I will get some role, but it will not be the best role, right?
Correct.
Like so, I have to be the top 2-3 there also, so that I can tell that I know I want to go there.
Correct.
So that was the effort. Then they sent me to another amazing stint in Europe. I went to Novelis. It's an aluminium manufacturer in Switzerland. So there I worked with a Swiss manager.
Okay.
Which was an experience in itself. These guys, all the jokes that we hear about Germans and Swiss is true. They are so precise and they are so structured. I struggled. That guy, I've said that this is the worst guy that I have worked with, and I still don't know, what I could have done better. But from a project perspective, it was great. It was about giving. So the year was 2015, and they were planning for 2022 or 2023. Aluminium buying for the Ferraris and all that, like 7-8 years down the line. So it was like a very chill life. You have nothing like today, for example, my problem is tomorrow morning, what would I do? They are saying 8 years later, do you want aluminium or not? So it was a very different experience. And then I came back, did a stint in Idea in sales. That was my first actual ASM kind of a sales stint, going to markets in Noida.
In Noida
only. So they're going with the ASM, TSM, etc. to sell SIM cards in the time of SIM cards. I mean, it was pre-Geo, where it was.
This
it was
what
happening.
happened 2014, 15?
14, 15. Everything is 14, 15. Yeah. So that's when my first sales stint happened, and then I later joined Idea in the marketing team.
In the marketing?
In the marketing, central marketing.
When you were doing sales, you realized, okay, not this?
No, actually,
or
after sales, the most attractive option was to join the marketing team of either in Madura Garments or Idea.
Okay.
And at that time, Idea was doing the Abhishek Bachchan ads, and a very, very good place to be. A lot of learnings to be there. And my manager at that time, Uday, is a CEO now within one of the ABG companies. He is also very well known, again, a senior in the ABG leadership role. So we both were able to sync up very well, and then I later joined them.
Okay.
So there it was a central marketing role. I've even acted in an ad.
Oh, you have? you have the structure and the face for that.
that was the initial plan. But after seeing my ad, they asked me to go and stand at the really back and just dance for some time. But it happens. But even now, I can say that I keep joking to people that I was in national TV.
So you're somewhere in the background.
Somewhere in the back, but they can see me because of my.
But you were there. Nice, man, nice.
Yeah, from there, then interestingly, every day there was a meeting at 6 o'clock from Idea where we used to plan how to defend Geo. By that time, Geo was real. Then I realized that something is off. If we are planning and worried that something in internet is going to boom and we are going to lose money. I don't want to be on the wrong side of things. I want to be on a side where internet makes sense. That's when I applied for Amazon, Flipkart. It was very clear. I want to be in e-commerce. It was from a very small thought like this, that I want to be where when internet booms, somewhere where internet makes sense.
Correct.
Cracked. Actually, I applied for Swiggy also at that time, but cracked Amazon.
Okay.
In Amazon, I joined as a mobile category manager, and later got into audio, and from audio, then I became an audio head in India. Then another. Should I continue like in the flow? Like it's
you
a,
can
it's
say
a, yeah.
like you can keep like whatever you want to keep short.
Yeah. So another significant milestone was everything was going well, and I heard that Amazon Saudi is launching.
You had worked in KSA.
Yeah. So then I thought like I will never get an opportunity to launch Amazon in a country. It's something which I missed when Amazon India launched. I was in college, so I took that opportunity to go to Saudi, which was one of the most difficult choices to make, because my wife didn't want to come and cannot come also in the initial years.
Okay.
So I went to Saudi, but from a personal learning perspective, it's another milestone, because 1 year I was there launching Amazon Saudi, which means like very, very basic. Say, how do you?
You're saying they didn't exist in the
No,
area?
they didn't exist. So it was a proper launch.
Lord.
It was a ton of experience. Like from, you ask me, anything in Amazon, any system, operations, let it be operations, finance, tech,
legal, everything
you get an exposure to.
Yeah.
At least that's for sure. In a country where expertise was not there at that point in time. By now, I'm sure there are a lot of natives who can do it maybe better. But there we were the experts. We were like the people who went in to do that.
Are you a risk taker in general?
That's, I think I generally want to do things differently, like little bit. And everything that I've ever achieved is because of some irrational things that I've done, right? There's no need
like
to do
raising
that.
the hand into
Like sometimes you feel it, right? Like, what's the worst case scenario? That's what I usually, that's like the mantra. What can happen, right? Like as long as you can bounce back, I think it's fine. Maybe worst case scenario is I'll have to come back to Amazon and Amazon India, and then my life will be normal. Maybe you will miss one promotion cycle, but that can always be adjusted in the long run. So there was no other downside to this. Then COVID happened, and I moved to Dubai. There I was heading beauty and personal care business.
Okay.
From a profile perspective, it's huge. Even today, what I'm doing is slightly lower than that. But from an interest perspective, that was not my, I didn't find that, because it's mostly selling cosmetics and all of that. And at that time, somehow I couldn't really love that category well. So I was planning to go to Seattle and find a role there. And that's when boAt had an opportunity, and then I came
you were
here.
planning to move to US?
Somewhere, like I was not really finding my mojo there. So I was actually trying for internally in UAE. I love staying in Dubai, so I wanted to stay in Dubai.
Okay.
But Amazon Dubai is not that big. It's a 1 crore population country, so you can only have that much business. So it was very clear that either I have to permanently move to Saudi or find a role within some of the other Amazons.
Got it. And how did boAt happen? Like, and tell this story especially because from Amazon to boAt, and you joined boAt at the time it's building, right?
Yeah. So I knew Aman and Samir from 2016. When I was in category, I grew with boAt. My personal career also grew with boAt within Amazon. So at that time,
within Amazon as well.
Within Amazon also. At that time, JBL had a 2016-17 had a distribution challenge, and products were out of stock and all that. So we were also desperately looking for somebody to cover for our targets. Very selfish interest. And Aman and Samir at that time had all the right things in place. They had a great product. They were able to bring it on time. Very trustworthy guys. So we just bet on boAt. And it was, I would say, a lot of my personal bet and a lot of Amazon bet. We like, this is the brand that we are going to build. So from 17, 18, we built, like I sent our first 100 crore mail to boAt. I still, in every all hands, I show that, this was the mail that I sent to Aman and Samir.
First 100 crore.
First 100 crore. You have touched 100 crores. Then I sent the 500 crore mail within a year, which is also huge. Then I moved to a seller for Amazon Apparel, because Amazon does So in Apparel, then I was managing boAt, not boAt, Ender Audio, and then I took a break. I mean, I went to Amazon Saudi, etc. But by the time boAt has become really big.
That type
right.
of
Like I left, I think when boAt was maybe 700, 800 crores. By the time I came back, it was 2,200 crores.
And was it a difficult decision or very easy decision to make? Because
It
a lot
was
of
a
people
great-
from Amazon will like
See, you can
with
only- it's a
stocks and
diff-
everything like कि अभी west हो
Correct.
जाएगा तब निकलते हैं. You know how the structure is.
Correct.
So
It's a difficult decision because you can cash out Amazon only once. And whoever comes to me these days asking, should I join a startup from an Amazon or similar companies, I tell them you can only do it once. If that is wrong, no, then you are a person who is coming from a failed startup. Like you can't take that premium anymore. So from that perspective, it was tough. Second is sitting in Amazon, your life is much more comfortable. You're taken care for. I think once you cross 6-7 years in Amazon, then you're done. Yeah, you usually retire. You don't have any other stress in life. So it is like I'm signing up for a little bit of stress. But other than that, I think it was straightforward.
did your role and responsibilities change when you were a vice president, sales and marketing, as what you joined? You moved to chief business officer.
Yes.
Did it change?
Yeah. Earlier, I was only managing online. 6-7 months later, I went and asked Aman and Samir that I want to do offline. And they said that you have absolutely no experience in managing offline. But I said, let me try. And they were kind enough to, including the board, they were saying, okay, let's take a bet.
Amazing.
So that's the time they took a bet. And I think it's going okay, at least from my perspective.
That's amazing, actually. And
it's another moment where you raise the hand.
You just raised the hand.
Absolutely, right? Like basically the offline head moved out. So either you have to hire a very expensive offline head, or Aman has to directly do it, or somebody has to say, I'll do it.
And you're like, yeah,
I'll do it. I'll try. But I have never done offline. So
enjoying it?
Absolutely. I mean, I keep saying that, I love offline more than, like, there is a lot more to do in offline. See, online is something which I know how to do a little bit. So it comes a little intuitive. Offline, I'm learning. So there's a little more thrill to it. And more than that, there are 100 options, right? Like I have 120 distributors are there. If something is not working, you always have a backup option. In online, you only have 4-5 players. You have to be very careful on the decisions that you are taking.
Makes sense. And offline is a altogether different beast to tame. Like
absolutely.
How long you have been handling offline?
It's around 2 years. 1.5 years now. 6 months, like 2.5 years overall in both. 7 months without offline, so almost 2 years.
And you are running throughout the country, meeting, establishing distributors. What's your usual day like for the offline part?
I actually spend 60-70% of my time in offline because right now I don't have an offline head who joined till now. So usual day is to start with a review of the offline. Offline works slightly different from that perspective, right? Like you talk to the citizens and RSNs and everybody almost on a daily basis, either in the morning or the evening to know what's happening. Like first 15 days we talk about sell-out drive, what's happening, and the next 15 days, like every other sales organization, how much more can you sell? Then there will be like at least 1.5-2 hours of distributor discussions on something which is pending. Whether payment has to be taken, payment has to be made, credit notes to be given, those kind of decisions. 30-35 minutes, like 4 to 5 hours overall, 30-35 minutes will go into an expansion plan. What are the areas that we have to expand further? And that's the most interesting part for me personally. So we had
areas as in like new pin codes to
new
start.
New pin codes, new distributors to be added, some distributors to be changed, areas to be reallocated. And to do all this based on some data points is super fun. In a company where we don't have that many data points in offline, like we are only 45 people in offline doing close to 1,500 crore business.
Amazing,
huh? So the data doesn't come that easily. So you have to really push a little bit to understand what's happening. We had Bain working with us for some time. So we build a lot of data points around that to understand which all places to go after. So we are chasing, like, for example, at any given point in time, we'll have 45 to 50 districts/distributors to be added. So then we go into a loop of talking to them, identifying, and then changing them. So it happens on an almost daily basis.
It also has this partner that we will take only 10 brands in this category or 20 brands. I'm not even taking you.
Correct.
Amazon still lets you list.
Absolutely. To answer your question, if you have bigger ambitions, of course, marketplace has to be considered because D2C, even for a brand like boAt, we keep debating whether will it ever achieve the scale that we think it needs to be, right? Like, can it be 20% of my business? Looks difficult.
It is very small piece of the entire
Correct,
pie
correct,
right now,
correct. It has to be seen from, at least in my mind, we see D2C not only from a revenue perspective. It's a place where people should get the most authentic information about our product, a place where we control our experience, a place where people can come in and understand and interact with our brand. And because of all of this, of course, the revenue will have to happen. But if you see a D2C website as a revenue first kind of a approach, it's not going to work out for a brand of our scale today.
Of your scale.
Yeah.
You can anyways see I'm pretty sure the pockets are full of money, right? It's just about where the money is to be put.
Correct.
And never it occurs to you, even at this stage, that D2C is the space where we, as you were saying, is this a revenue source I want to build more or not?
See,
and what's the biggest blocker over there?
It's, I would say, from a cost perspective, right? Like, the advertising cost of D2C is prohibitive for a brand of our size, where Amazon, Flipkart, we have the scale. So I don't have to put that much money on Amazon, Flipkart. But in Meta, I still have to put in that money. There is no option. Then the cost of shipping for an ASP of $1,000 is still not very conducive for our business. So when I evaluate from my seat, I look at the EBITDA percentages across all the different channels that I manage.
Correct.
And D2C will come at the lowest. So if I have to grow this, then the mix will go for a toss. So I need to really have very different reasons to grow D2C, not from a revenue or a bottom line.
Makes sense.
That's the simple business logic behind the way we consider D2C.
But for all the campaigns that you're doing, which are like, let's say, when we're saying, we'll talk about it a little bit more in detail. You're doing all those BTS, especially you'll see a lot of big hoardings around boAt, very creative ones as well, right?
Yeah.
Don't you think it also has a impact on secondary, rather tertiary picking up, people consume, right? And that leads to more sales in offline as well?
Absolutely, yes. Once we started the Redveer campaign, there is a good uplift of people coming and asking for our products and tertiary picking up.
Yeah.
And in online, the metric is people searching for boAt Nirvana in the search tab. So these are the two things that we track: Google Trends, and then this, and then third is tertiary in the offline. All three matrices usually go up when we do a campaign. If we call out the product features and pricing, it goes a little bit more. If we take a brand approach, then it's a little delayed. We will see the impact maybe 3-4 months later. That's how it typically works out.
And how easy it is to track the tertiary part of it? Like, if secondary is increasing, that's how you evaluate? Or do you have something at the retailer end where you evaluate it on a real-time basis?
We don't get it. Like, we have not invested. Like I said, like, we are a very asset light. Like, audio is a very gross margin is not that high.
Okay.
So we have to work within a very, very short gross margin profile. So we can't invest on very, very high-end tech in offline or any other place. So we rely on a DMS, distributor management system, where the distributor says the secondary, this is the secondary.
On the business secondary, then extrapolate.
Correct, and then we take it from there.
Makes sense. So tell us everything about getting Ranveer Singh, the person whom anyone would associate with boAt only, by the way. Okay,
yeah, that was the idea.
That energy matching boAt. How did this association happen, and what's your thought about how it's kicking off for you guys?
We always look for creating synergies within the brand. If you look at our campaigns, it's like, I wouldn't say it's very conventional. We want to make people talk about our campaign, because we are not going to spend a lot of money on putting it on ATL campaigns. It's against the way we work. So we were looking for somebody to work with who will give us a lot of natural conversations around, hey, this person might be good for boAt. And then I think there was an event or something Aman and Ranveer attended together, and they vibed well.
Okay.
And for us, in a way, Aman is the brand, right? Like, Aman lives boAt.
Yeah.
So when Aman and Ranveer is able to vibe, all of us realize that maybe then boAt and Ranveer can also really do well. So it started from there, and Ranveer was also pretty happy and looking forward to work with boAt. I think he's also reverse calculating that if Aman is the brand and this is a good guy to hang out with, maybe the brand is also
Maybe
good.
the brand is good.
And I can always imagine him carrying a party speaker of boAt and walking around, right? Very natural.
Very natural.
Very natural, yeah. That's how it happened. So we were never on the lookout for a big name like Ranveer. If you look at our history of 7-8 years, we always had an upcoming star. So the attitude within the company is always of an underdog.
Yeah.
We never want to feel that we have arrived. Aman keeps, and Samir also keeps saying that, hustle is a word. We never want to feel comfortable. Like we are paranoid by nature. Every day morning, half an hour, Aman and Samir still goes through Amazon, Flipkart and pings me by saying that this creative is not there. And they look at two different things. Aman will say the color is off. We should have put in a different word. Samir will say the feature you are calling out in a wrong way. And this is happening for 8 years.
Every single day.
Every single day. Every single day it will happen. And that culture is so ingrained. So that's that. So Ranveer was, from that perspective, very, very much not in the picture. But because of this reason, then we were rethinking that maybe this is the right time.
With regards to hustle also, you'll relate a lot to Ranveer. Like he's been a hustler throughout.
Absolutely.
And that image actually vibes well with the boAt part.
Correct. So we want to associate with people or properties which signifies coming from somewhere and reaching somewhere because of effort. Right. That's the story that we want to build, and that's the kind of people in boAt, and that's how we see our boAt heads also, and that fits in perfectly with Ranveer. So that's right.
I like the term boAt head.
Who
came up with it?
Aman, I think it was there when I joined, but I can only think of Aman or the marketing team.
Oh.
So we have very young, amazing marketing people with Aman. So they come up with these ideas, which I always used to wonder, how did you think about this? How did you think about this? Yeah. So we have a dedicated person to manage boAt head community. So that person is doing that.
What's the community part of it? I didn't get it.
So we are trying to build something called as a boAt head community. So far, we are calling the people who buy and use boAt as boAt head. Over time, I think we would have sold 300 to 400 million devices by now, if not more. Data, I'm not so sure. So what can we do more to the people who associate themselves as boAt head? So we are thinking of kind of a loyalty program, kind of an exclusive event, kind of like a closed group community where people can interact with each other around Bollywood, music and cricket. So we are building something like that.
Isn't it a very difficult challenge to do it, or
I think it needs to be done at some point in time. People are not buying boAt just to listen to music, right? It's not a very functional brand. It's a very emotional brand at the end of the day. So for an emotional brand, we need to build a story which goes far beyond the functional product. If I give you this product and say it has 50 hours battery, there are many products with 50 hours battery today in the market. There needs to be a bigger story of
that's a commoditization.
It's commoditized. So we have two brands. One is boAt and one is Nirvana, which is where we are using Ranveer to promote.
Oh,
so it's like a premium brand to boAt. So this came from one of the board meetings. One of our advisors has suggested that it might not be a good idea to launch our premium feature-led products under boAt itself for the same reason. People buy boAt for a different reason. They want it to be the best features at the cheapest price. But Nirvana is slightly different. That is like we are going for ambitious. We are chasing the best product in the world and trying to bring it at maybe 1/10 of the price. So this like two different story we are trying to say now.
And this has to do, as you were saying earlier, right? 50 hours battery and those standardized, commoditized features, and that also does not make a lot of margin-wise business sense.
Correct. So it is a little. But in the initial years, margin-wise, both will remain the same. But in the long run, it will. And India is also, you guys will also know more data on this. We are seeing mid-premium growing much faster than low ASP now, right?
Yeah.
So that's a hard data that we are looking at. Usually during Diwalis, we used to sell the cheapest product, the Max.
The Max.
The last Diwali was a shocker for us. Our relatively expensive product. The word expensive and boAt cannot be put together. So I have to say relatively expensive product that oversold our cheaper products, which is a significant consumer trend that we are also reacting to.
Is it just the consumer trend, or is it the perception about boAt also that changes
I
over a
don't
period
know.
of time?
Actually,
The acceptance at a mid-premium level?
it could be. It could be.
Or
but
I'm just saying something. I
It
don't
could
know.
be, but across the category, that's the trend.
Across the category.
Yeah. And also the fact of, at least in electronics, with boAt coming in and showing to the world that, hey, this can be done, this is scalable, and it's a fun world to be in. A lot more brands have come in, right? And entry barrier in India to electronics is almost nil. Tomorrow you and me can start a brand and call it whatever, and the initial 50 crore business will happen.
Oh, okay.
It is easy because the product is available in China. You pick it, you bring it here. The first 50, like Samir keeps telling me, whenever I go and ask for a new product, is like, you go start a brand. But scaling it up from 50 to whatever it is, that's when the problem starts. The warranty issues, ensuring that the product quality is maintained, ensuring that the supply chain is there. That's when the struggle comes in.
So, coming back to the Ranveer part of
Sure.
it, right? And specifically, a lot of D2C founders, whenever we meet in mixers or otherwise, like you, we have also been traveling and meeting a lot of D2C founders ourselves. They keep on asking about having brand ambassador as a strategy of picking up sales. How do
Too late to the party.
Yeah.
It's my very personal opinion, and also from a board's perspective, right? You just go to Amazon or Flipkart today and search for any brand. You will find like top class celebrities across most of the products. Like, we are into wearables,
Yeah.
right? Smartwatches. You just type smartwatches. You will see Virat Kohli. You will see hundreds of people,
Yeah.
and it's very difficult anymore to stand out. And because somebody likes Dhoni, somebody likes Virat Kohli, somebody likes Ranveer. From that perspective, it's too late to the party to create any kind of sale impact. But once you are an established brand, maybe then you have the money and the muscle power to play on the frequency part of it. Right? Like, you show it 3-4 times to the same set of very customized audience, and then target them from multiple sites, put it in the offline store, build a event around it, and then pour money into it to build a story around it. Yes, it could work. But standalone, let's say if I only have 1 crore to spend, you go ahead and give that 75 lakhs to a cricketer, it may not work any further.
Nothing much could come out of it.
Yeah.
So again, what I hear is that when you have reached a scale,
Yes.
then you should think about the strategy.
Correct.
But what would be?
No, you see, in a sense, like, if initially, in your example also you were saying earlier, right? If the brand initially itself very clear that, in 5 years I want to be the top 2-3 in the category, then it's a no-brainer, right? Then it's an investment that you're making
over a long period of time.
I'm talking about those people who want to start a brand and want to see how it goes, right? Like, let's say I only have limited budget. Should I put that in making a better product, a better customer service, and a better targeting within your D2C or wherever you are doing? Do that versus going and finding a celebrity. But if you are a brand who has enough capital to do all of this together, then it's a no-brainer.
So basically, cover the basics first.
Cover the basics. There's a lot more things today in Amazon AMS. It has become a real science. 4 years back, I would say I am an expert. Now I cannot say that any longer. Right? It's super complicated, and you really need to look at a lot of data points. So it's better that we spend a lot more money there. If you will not be visible if you are not scientifically planning your campaigns, both in Flipkart or Amazon anymore. You cannot just put a celebrity and it will never come. Nobody will even see the celebrity. That's for sure.
So why spend so much money? Why spend so much money then?
So much money.
Get the basics right. Oh, perfect. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more around the D2C bit of it.
Sure,
I know I do not know what portion of your business it is currently, but a lot of people are building, as you said, in the starting, it is important to build through D2C part.
Absolutely.
So how do you approach the D2C part of the business?
So when I took over D2C, the first question that I was asking the D2C head there was a reason to buy from our website. It's one of the toughest questions to answer because we are present in Amazon, Flipkart, offline. You ask it, it will be present, right? So we have already covered that part. So what extra are we going to give to the customer? So from there, we started working backwards to figure out. I believe it's a function of 2-3 things. One, it's convenience. It should be available very quickly. It's pricing. If there is no price parity, then people are not going to buy for sure.
You're saying pricing should be more aggressive over there?
It should be at least equal,
Parity.
or you should give enough services to charge for a premium.
Okay.
So let's call it like some kind of a price relevance should be there.
Okay.
I cannot be 2x of Amazon and say that, hey, please buy from my website.
Please buy from my website.
So that is it. That's what it was happening across usually the brands, right? Very difficult because Amazon is, any other marketplace, they might fund from their end.
Of course.
And third is some kind of a customer experience, right? Like what experience are you giving here? So we started our journey with building a dedicated ops team to track the ops capability and improve that.
Okay.
And this is a special area of interest for Samir, and he's an expert in it. So he built a team, and currently our average delivery date timeline has significantly come down.
Okay.
So that is some area that we are working on. Right now we are working on 2-hour delivery.
2-hour delivery?
Trying to figure that out. Like
through your website?
Through our website.
Through your website?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, because the data points are there, right? So how do we figure out like this area, it makes sense. So again, if I am a D2C head, this is an interesting conversation. If I am a CBO, then I'm wondering, should I just ask Blinkit and maybe go and talk to them saying, how do I optimize?
Yeah.
But I think this conflict is always good. Somebody will try to innovate more.
Correct.
So that's from a speed. From a pricing perspective, we started going after exclusive colors, and wherever we cannot, we started price matching. Okay. As a principle, and then we started keeping those products which we can price match in our website. Okay. So that parity is also taken care. From an experience perspective, and that's where the most of the work has gone in. I don't know if there are any other brand other than Apple who gives personalized products in electronics today in India. So we started that as a project.
That is through your D2C website.
I'm talking only about D2C.
Yeah, I saw that part, that you can enter your name and it would be
that was crazy. That was that is giving us tremendous results.
Yeah.
To any wherever I go now, if I want to give something, this is naturally, not only because I'm in boAt, something which is very unique, and people will get shocked when you say, no, you just have to pay $100 or $150 or $99 to
nothing.
Do this.
Yeah.
It is nothing, right? And that most cases you get it as some kind of a discount anyway.
Yeah.
That's something that we did, and it's really working well, especially for premium range. That's working really well.
And this is where the price differential, the person would not bother much around.
Correct.
Like Amazon se nahi, ab main yahin se khareed leta.
Correct. This is a reason to buy. Absolute reason to buy, right? I'm not going to offer this anywhere else. I cannot offer this anywhere else. Yeah. Competition is also not offering it currently. And only person is Apple, who anyway I don't think.
I like how you position yourself with Apple.
At least both of us are doing the same thing.
Amazing.
So, and you will see this in the next 2-3 weeks, why this is relevant soon. So
something's in the pipeline.
Yeah, something is in the pipeline.
Spill some beans, man.
No, this is it. You will. I mean, anyway, we're going to spend money to spill it. So it can be just a teaser campaign for that.
Okay.
Cool. Now we invested a lot in the catalog quality of our website, and I think that's the most basic thing that people should really go after. So we have an in-house video team who takes out. Actually, we are so frugal in that nature that there is like people who can really talk. They are our models also. So they take the product, talk about the features, and we put snippets out of it, and put it in our. We still operate our D2C website like a startup. There is no separate fund or anything for D2C. They have to generate enough money to survive themselves. Put it back. There is no fund from Imagine or boAt that goes into D2C. That was not a plan, but that happened, and I think that's the most beautiful part of it. So there is at most innovation coming from D2C. Like whoever wants to say, hey, this is a new thing, we will try it for sure. Yeah. Right? We tried video commerce. We tried. Actually, Samsung has this feature that I saw on their website that if for their premium phone you can call and connect to a call center, and they'll take you through the products on a live website. It's a call center, proper call center, where let's say S24 Ultra, they'll give you a link to join a Zoom call or something similar, and then they'll show you that this is S24, this is how you see that circle, you can search and all that.
And you're doing this?
We tried it, but for our product, it didn't make sense. Like few things doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's too expensive to sell a 1,000 rupees product. It makes sense to sell a 1 lakh rupees
Yes.
product. But again, we tried it. So from a D2C perspective, it's the place where we want to try out anything and everything possible.
A lot of experimentation.
Experimentation, and that's the beauty of having a much larger business to support.
Yeah.
We, in a way, we're fortunate from that perspective. If I only had D2C, I can't afford to do all that, right? But here we can. So catalog quality also is coming out really well. Then getting into the other checkout experience and speed of the website and all that thing is another definitely an area that we really focus on. I think as an overall package, D2C for us is going in a direction where over the next 12 to 18 months, it will become a significant business for us.
Okay.
Even now, it's a chunk, like it's almost less than 7-8%. But I think ideally I want it to be like 15-16% of my business, so that I can control that, like I was saying earlier, the customer experience part of it. Because some of the products that we are launching this year is very feature heavy, unlike some of the products that we launched before.
Is it because of Nirvana?
Because of Nirvana. So we have a lot of world's first feature. And it's very difficult to make people believe that a Indian brand or a brand like boAt can come up with the world's first feature. So I have to put in extra effort to actually tell to people that this is the first, this is the first, this is the first.
A lot of world's first is on the way.
Yeah, like for example, even one of our product now, we are still struggling even with all the marketing might that we have, how to explain this feature, right?
Yeah.
One of our earbuds can last 24 hours.
Okay.
Typically, an earbud will last 8 hours. So fundamentally, you can, and then the battery case is like 120 hours.
Okay.
So you will need to only charge maybe once in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And you can go all the way to San Francisco without even recharging once.
Yeah. I like how you put it, San Francisco.
All the way to almost like 17-18 hours in reality, right?
Yeah.
The challenge is when you want to put it that in a D2C website or a marketplace, when you say 24 hours, whatever you write below, people will say it's a 24-hour battery product. And 50 hours I have. But it's in the detail is in 1 earbud, but you cannot explain that. Yeah. So we went with a 120-hour call out, which can be easily replicated. Anybody can make a 120-hour product. Correct. So that's a journey. Then that's when D2C maybe we have much more snippets explaining the example that people using it for all 24 hours, people using it in a flight, and putting up those videos. So D2C website that in that way helps. When I'm using that in my offline, I give all these links
to the
ASMs and the ABMs on the ground stuff, and say that go to the retailer and show him. Just show that. So then whenever we make a video, we make it in almost 9 to 10 languages. And then put it in the website, put it in a WhatsApp and give it to the distributor. Okay. So from Malayalam to Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, it spreads across multiple language. Because explaining features is a new boAt. Like we are a startup there. We were not very sure how to do that, because so far we were building a brand. Products were selling on price. Now we are moving to brand. People know that it's a price conscious brand. Now we are moving into feature. We have the world's first this, world's first that. So it's a new world that we are entering.
And along the DNA of the brand, you will never be the brand who will communicate features as a technical thing only, right? You are storytellers anyway.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. That's an internal conflict that we are going through, right? Like it might be an interesting conversation to have this. So between Aman and Samir, right? Like Aman is a storyteller.
Yeah.
Samir is a product guy, right?
Yeah.
Like so Samir wants to go and say, find a way to tell to people that this is the use case. Like the way I was.
This is the use case we solve.
If I have 5 minutes, I can explain. But how do you explain this quickly? So this constant struggle, battle, that is what is helping us move forward. Because Samir will never be happy with a simple way of showing. For example, there is a simple feature which we take it for granted if you use a Samsung or an Apple. Is you have your earphone and it's connected to your phone, and suddenly you want to connect your laptop, and it will automatically switch based on wherever the audio input is coming. Right? So how do you show this? So we came up with boAt way of a fun video explaining all this. Samir is like, no, it has to be like simple, it has to be very effective, it has to be very clear. Over 2-3 iterations, we got it right.
Okay.
Now we are able to explain this. Now then he gives like 1+1 feature plus 1 feature. So it's a journey that we are going through.
And a lot of left brain, right brain things happen.
Absolutely,
with Sameer, Aman coming together in a room.
between, like we will become a little brain fried, but I think that's the journey. Within boAt, I think the success of boAt is a lot to do with acceptance of your area of expertise, and that's what. It's my personal mantra also to do what you know, and in boAt we say do what floats your boat.
Do what floats your boat.
Like slightly different version for me is do what you know to do. Rest you hire somebody or find somebody who can help you to do that.
Yeah.
So that's what these two guys are also showing from their examples, and that's what we are all following one below down, and that really helps.
Just going back a little bit, as you said, like for D2C to work, we have to provide differentiators. One of the differentiators you talked about was that engraving wala part, right? The other one was that within your website, you are doubling down on making sure that there are videos or content over there that people understand your product better, which is not available at marketplaces. What other things would you do, or you're doing, or would you want to do, but time nahi hai?
Like, let's say live commerce is something which I'm personally passionate about. Before this,
sorry, what's for live commerce?
Live commerce,
okay.
Right? Like where in
that Amazon also had that video happening
that has to happen in India. It's impossible that it will not come. It has to come.
Okay.
In China, that's the thing, right? People sell millions and millions of devices or whatever it is in like a couple of seconds through live commerce. So whatever happens in China has to come here in some point in time. So live commerce is something which I'm personally working on right now to bring into our website. But again, our category is slightly different. So we'll have to figure out what to do. We were launching a product called AirDrop Supreme very recently. We did something different that we called a lot of influencers to our office. Rajiv McKinney and that level of influencers, and they were doing an actual tester product in front of the camera, right? And we streamed it live in Flipkart. This was the biggest launch that we have ever seen. Number of people who see, which shows that this kind of content now has audience. So that's something which we will bring to D2C, where we will have local or more or less influential or influencers who comes in, and we will make live videos and try to put it in.
Live videos, and then they basically around the products.
Around the products. So basically, like the problem statement is the same that I said, right? Like a lot of things to be said about can the marketing creative or a static do justice to it? Most of the time, no. So then can somebody explain to you in your language that you understand it much easier? So live commerce is something that we are figuring it out. Other than that, there is nothing that clearly is there in the books as of now. Still in an exploration phase.
Got it. I was just like going through a couple of videos of Aman or boAt people or content around it, and it was from a couple of years back, and it was like audio specifically is a commoditized market in India, and creating a brand over there is a big achievement, right? And of course, Aman's contribution, as you were saying, is like immensely in that, right? Tell us the most difficult part of this entire transition from a commodity to now what boAt is. One most difficult part of the journey, if you can remember. I know the entire journey would have been a longer one, but one more trickling point.
I think it's convincing people that we are not the cheapest available option in the market. If we have to put it as one single one, right? Because it's always a comparison to the bottom. If you go to an Amazon or anywhere, let's take offline for a second, the retailer will say, I have a 400 rupees headphone also. You want like 1000 rupees is too much. Why should I pay? So that's the journey that we took over so many years to say this is boAt. boAt you will have to pay so much. Please look at some other XY brand slightly above that and compare with that. Correct. We recently launched a power bank, which is a new category for us. So we have to rebuild this entire cycle. Like I'm going through the cycle and the pain that maybe Aman has gone through.
Gone back.
Like power bank, I put it up in the market. For me, Xiaomi is my comparison, not anything else. But for the retailer, they'll say, no, I have 300 rupees also. It might blast, I don't know, but our product is this. That doesn't work. We'll have to now build a story that boAt is known for power banks and build a brand around it, show some So that journey is very, very difficult to make a person believe. First the retailer to believe, first a distributor to believe, then the retailer to believe, and the retailer will convince the customer. In online, it's slightly easier because as long as the rating is good and a person needs a power bank, they'll buy. And boAt, generally, like we did a brand study where people were saying that boAt TVs are the best, and we don't have a TV. The brand resonance in electronics is that high that
boAt TVs are the best.
boAt TVs are the best, and we don't have a TV, right? So we can. Fortunately, people will give us one chance to launch, I think, almost any electronic product. But if we get that right, I think we will have the right to continue.
Nice. So, as you were saying, this entire channel partnerships, the distributor, retailer, and boAt, and in the end, the consumer who is coming now that the brand recall is there, right? This entire journey started how long back? The offline channel?
2018. Actually, 2018, 2019 itself. I think it started scaling up from 2020. COVID hit then, and 2020. Because of that, we lost a year, and 2022 onwards, we are like double down, triple down on offline. Like for me, if I have to write my KRA, offline would be like number one, and then the rest will come.
Makes sense. And this offline expansion, you're going aggressive?
Very, very aggressive.
Yeah. And this is not even restricted to India, I suppose?
No. We are actually, we started an international journey like around 8 months back, thanks to we being the second largest wearable brand in the world. And why I'm bringing that ad line in is that is the backbone of an international expansion, because there is no right to win. It took us so many years to even think of international because there is no right to win, right? Like I used to go to Aman and Samir, the day I joined to like 6 months later, that like I said, I tried raising my hand then also, like let's go international. It's more.
It happened back then as well?
Yeah. Because
so many raising hands.
That's the most glorified role you can do, right? Like international expansion sounds amazing personally, professionally, and of course that's the best way to grow. Okay. But then we were not very convinced on the right to win. A person sitting in Mexico, boAt and brand QZ will not have any difference.
Correct.
So we waited, and finally we identified like a niche that now that there is only an Apple to be compared against, technically, when the world's first brand is Apple. So now it's a story. I can go to a distributor in Mexico, and we did, and told him that this is Apple and this is the second largest wearable brand. Do you want to be a distributor? So, I get a seat at the table.
Wow.
So from that side, we started expanding to LATAM. We identified LATAM based on kind of a similar demographic to India. So the people are looking for mid-premium products, value for money products. So we are present in LATAM. Of course, Middle East, thanks to the number of Indians there, we don't have to put anything on branding. Whatever you do in India works there. And we will soon go into Malaysia, Indonesia, etc. purely from a population.
And
backwards.
Through partnerships?
It is through, we have a national distributor model.
National distributor.
Yeah, we look for, typically we look for a similar electronics brand distributor in the country, and then we go with them. Like in Bangladesh, our distributor is same as the Xiaomi distributor. In Nepal, it's similar, another mobile phone brand. In Mexico, we went with the biggest electronics distributor there. Once you build a brand, I think that's the good part of joining a company like boAt. I don't have to struggle to convince somebody to take the distributionship. I have the fortunate power to say, no, I don't want you. Let me go with this distributor.
Having the liberty of having options.
Yeah, it's more like, we look at the proposal and we evaluate and say that, no, not this, let's go with this. But that's just the starting, right? Like we put our products there, but now I'm really worried. Like my sleepless night today is on the Brazil and Mexico stock, because there the building a brand is a new journey in itself.
Yeah.
Right. Like my magic weapon here, Aman, he does not understand Mexico market.
Yep.
So now we'll have to.
And it happens the other way. The Mexico market doesn't understand you.
Absolutely, yeah. Right. And it's very expensive to build a brand outside India. So now we are going through that journey. We are figuring out, like right now we are taking baby steps. Let's put very, very limited quantity with very limited Reliance Chroma equivalents there, where we can have some kind of a marketing, go after the tagline of second largest wearables brand, so that people have some kind of relevance. Go to Amazons of those countries where ratings can be actually ported worldwide. If you have a rating in India, it can be ported to any of the English-speaking countries. Yeah, it can be. So that will give us some kind of a relevance. So that's a slow step that we are taking. But I think over the next 12 to 18 months will be the most toughest period to go and understand the Mexico market and figure out how to, or any of the LATAM market, and figure out what's the right way to build it. Because boAt is built behind product and brand is built on understanding people, which currently is something which we have to learn. And by nature, we or by DNA of boAt, right? We are not used to burning and building something. Like, we will never go to Mexico and say who is the best celebrity there. Sign him up put it. We will always.
Although you explained earlier also, that
so the same
every time you have hired celebrity who's the up and coming wala.
Absolutely. Right? Never. We are still looking for the local influencers there who will give us value for money. So we tried with 2-3 people. It really worked. If we were selling 1 unit, now we are selling 3 units. So slowly, we will build it over time.
International seems to be an important part of the strategy.
International is a growth avenue for us for sure. See, globally there is only JBL as a brand which is known for audio. There is no competition for JBL anywhere in the world. So it's an open space. Whichever brand can take it will have a growth story for sure.
In any of the companies, whether it's a 0 to 1 or 1 to 100, in both those things, right? Having clear priorities is super important because you'll always have so many things to do. So how do you make sure that when you wake up in the morning, you and the team that you're leading are working exactly on the same thing that they should be?
So we believe in this philosophy that every layer should make it much easier for the next layer to just execute. Let's say if my team fails to achieve a number or a sales target, it is because something that I have not cleared in terms of input. If I have to make it even more very crystal clear, let's say when a ABM, who is from a hierarchy perspective, the starting point for boAt in offline, he should know that he has to go to XYZ store on a daily basis and say XYZ things. If he does that, and then my ASM, who is above him, he has to ensure that 4-5 things every day he has to do.
Amazing.
If he has done that, then my ZSM has to do this. Then finally it should fall in place. If that is not, if after they doing it, it's not falling in place, it's the problem of the organization or the person who's leading it. So that's the fundamental theoretical philosophy. Every day do we follow it? Absolutely no. But from a practice perspective, we have made that structure like that. You do this, you do this, you do this. Rest will be taken care by the system. And that's what helps us. Like when I wake up in the morning, I know that today this is what I am supposed to do. This is what my team is supposed to do.
Love this.
And my job is to review that. That hey, have you done the part that you said that you have done? And it's my person who's reporting into me that will have to ensure the same thing that goes in. So that's the structured way we work. The unstructuredness comes from the fact that boAt is, it's almost like unity in diversity, right? Like the way we hire people, who is very different. Like I said, Aman and Samir example, we have a CEO who joined us recently, Gaurav. He's an ex-Baini. So Gaurav is a highly structured guy. He will never ever go beyond a line that is drawn. So then he comes in with his perspective, Aman comes in with perspective, Samir comes in with perspective, then we start adapting to the changes on a daily basis. So that brings in the growth fact of it. But other than that, I think we stick to this philosophy.
I think that is a good philosophy. You're basically saying we have like strong key results identified for everyone that they should be doing.
Absolutely.
I don't know whether you have read this book or not. There's a John Dewar's Measure What Matters.
No, I'm not, but
or Andre Groove's High Output Management. Both these books are on these same lines that if you tell at every layer what all things are to be done.
Absolutely. And Samir says this, and this is, if I can just on his behalf say this, his philosophy is I think it's very famous also, what can be measured is what will matter, right? Like, so
what can be measured is what can be managed.
So he after he became the CEO, the single biggest thing that he is doing is actually 2 things. One, he needs a single point of honor for everything. He does not want like 4-5 people to say that, he did. Like if somebody is doing something, say who is responsible, and I'll only ask to that person. Second is he attends reviews left, right, center every day, which is very new to boAt.
Yeah.
Coming from Amazon, I'm used to it, but for here in boAt, he started this culture saying that I'm going to review audio monthly, then D2C monthly, and all that, and then in that review we'll structurally go after. So he's doing what I said at a CEO level.
Yeah.
So that he tells me that, Prejit, you promised X, Y, Z things. You
this.
deliver this, so that I can deliver the things that I have promised for the other side, and that works very, very beautifully. I think if one of this system break and there is no communication, that's when things get difficult. Like if I don't get a memo saying that this product that is supposed to launch on X day is not coming on X day, and that process is broken, then I would have already spent the money that that was planned for it. So, but in this system it works, because I attend a product meeting every Monday where I only review for half an hour. These are the launches for the month, and if that is getting delayed, my next meeting will be that saying that what was supposed to be the money spent for those launches, and then it falls in place.
And usually, when all these reviews are happening, and with scale specifically, do you start seeing that there are some delays creeping in?
Absolutely, it does. It does. I think that's where that's the journey that we are going through now. A lot more things have become too many reviews. Like people ask me, like, after all this review, when do I actually do my work? But I think for a company of our scale, that's something which we'll have to bite the bullet for sure. Aman as a person, again, he does not have any calendar. He has not had any reviews. He and his team works in a very different way. So similarly, we all found our set of Amans in our team who will push through things. Like I have a chief of staff, Aman have a chief of staff, everybody. Their job is to ensure that all the red tapes, they get our primary work done. So that's what we are trying, but we have not solved that problem.
But I guess different stage, different
stage. Right now, our primary focus is to bring the business back in complete control from a data perspective. Like a single biggest aspect after growth for boAt today is how do we ensure that we know what is happening.
Oh, there is a single source of truth?
Yeah. See, we have done a lot of things over the last 1 and 2 years together. For example, last 1 year, we have DMS implemented, which is like 120 distributors uploading their data on time. SAP came in.
And उसमें भी काफी डंडा करना पड़ता है. Distributors don't do that.
They don't do that.
They're like ये काम करूँ मैं अपना धंधा देखूँ. Right?
Absolutely. From the IT team did the SAP implementation. We from 20% make in India, we are at around 80% make in India in 1 year. That happened. Wearables as a category we launched. Nirvana as a brand we launched. So many things are happening simultaneously that if we are not in control, it's very easy to. We failed in a lot of places. We launched a brand called Tag, which was supposed to be like a sub-premium brand to boAt. It failed because we never were able to give enough structured time to it. We let it be. Similarly, we tried with a brand called Misfit. It's a trimmers brand. It is still there, but if this philosophy was followed, and we will do it, it would have grown much faster than what it is growing today.
So with all this growth and with all this responsibility and scaling happening, for every business layer, specifically at the top, right? People think that people at the top management are the ones who are like having a chill time. I guess the stress is rather exponentially more over there.
Correct.
How do you manage all this stress?
I think only the bad things comes to the people at the top, right? Like anything good would be already solved.
Yeah.
I think it goes back to. I'm repeating it for the third or fourth time, but still, I truly believe in that, right? Yeah. If you're doing what you love doing, right, then you can manage it. Let's say if somebody comes with an audit problem to me and say, how do you solve this GST compliance issue?
You're not the person for it.
I'm stressed. I cannot sleep. But if somebody comes in and say, hey, this distributor ka stock is stuck. Can you please solve it? That person is very angry. I'm naturally I can talk to the distributor and from their anger take him down to a point of good conversation, call few other people, sort it out. It's a time commitment, but it's not a mental strain commitment. So in that way we can survive.
So basically lucky to be in a position where you get to decide what problem you have to solve.
Absolutely.
That's life's biggest gift.
That's the biggest one, right? If there are 4-5 things is consistently coming to me and I don't know how to solve, I'll go and find somebody and say, please, this is the new chief of X, and please manage this.
Reminder to oneself.
So we have this term in boAt called flotters.
Flotters.
Fundamentally, these are people who we hired in the short term to make other people do their work. So, we hire a person, then, that team, how do I ensure that I get a visibility to that? So I hire one more set of people. So that you tell me what they are trying. But at just a stage, right? At a stage where we are moving away from a central decision making to little decentralized, I think there will be like 12 to 14 months where these kind of issues will be there.
Yeah, that's good. What's your philosophy for stakeholder management?
Go with the people who we can trust. I would any day hire a person who I feel I can not actually have a person. Hire me, you will never know. Have a person who I trust more than a person who is more knowledgeable or more skilled, right? Because a lot in a regular business is fundamental first principle solution.
Correct.
I don't think you need any kind of extraordinary brilliance, at least in the sales part of the life, right?
Correct.
So I go after people who is trustworthy, who is ethical, and who has a sense of urgency to things, and that is very important. I really cannot work with those people who's constrained to a certain mindset. Let it be time, let it be work. Because today, if you look at my journey so far, half an hour I'll do international, half an hour I'll do offline, and then I'll come back and do online, and you'll have to keep shifting, and we need people like that. At least I need people who are so much energetic that they are also ready to keep shifting and run with us. So that's generally what I look for in people, and from a hiring perspective, I look for. Amazon has taught me that, Amazon has a very, very, very strict hiring.
Yeah. All those rounds and then
14 principles. So from that, I have for life taken 2-3 principles, and I keep checking those principles.
What are those principles?
So the biggest one there is like bias for action. Fundamentally, to ensure that you don't wait for something to happen and then you react to it. You have to be like always on your toes, and that's what I was saying, right? Like that's the biggest skill set I think anybody can bring into the team. If somebody can always read the situation, and that comes to the second principle. It's write a lot.
Write a lot.
Write a lot, like RIGHT, right? Write
a lot.
Fundamentally, it's like an intuition. Like you have enough depth and understanding of the business that you know that something is not happening.
Right. I like this one.
Yeah, and in Amazon Docs there is a paragraph where the heading is I don't know remember the exact word, but it's something like the dog that is not barking. With the Sherlock Holmes reference.
Yeah. The dog that is not barking, as
in Sherlock Holmes, that Hound of Baskerville, there's a book, right? In which he solves the case when the dog was not barking in the night. So that is not something which anybody will usually notice. If the dog is barking, then will say somebody is coming.
Yes.
So the way he solved it was basically saying the dog didn't bark, so somebody who came in was known to the dog and to the house. So that was the theory. So in Amazon, it is used to understand the problem which is not very obvious.
Okay.
Or it is too obvious and we are missing it. Right? Like I was saying about that offline example, if suddenly my billing is going left, right, center high on one single product without any reason, there's something wrong, right? There's something wrong. So that's something which again comes from experience, and that's something which I keep looking for people. And that comes from few very fundamental questions around what did you do, what are the 2 successful things you have done. Then you will understand that what kind of examples are they talking about. Are they talking about places where they are actually involved in doing something versus saying that, I was part of doing something. Like these are the 2.
The depth,
yeah. Like you can be in any organization for 2 years and have no idea on what that organization is actually doing. Or you can be in an organization for 6 months and say that, this is what that they were trying to do, and I tried playing my part. So that's something which we can understand by talking to somebody for at least half an hour to 45 minutes.
That's great. around coming back to the D2C part, and this would be the last section. There are two parts to it. One is where I'll raise the hand, okay? Yeah. And the first part has to be on the D2C experience. As I said, like the consumer experience on the website is super important, right? Have you given thought to the checkout experience that the consumer have over the D2C website, and what are the things that you consider critical over there in the checkout journey?
Yeah. See, from a checkout journey perspective, I think we track the time it takes, how seamless the experience is, and what are the best-in-class options that you are available, and how easy is that for the customer to have it. If you have to, I think. Okay. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
The way we measure that is fundamentally like when we have three options across three partners who gives us the option, which are the ones that customer is naturally selecting, which are the ones where the checkout experience is much better, and then we try to go with the competition analysis to understand, hey, is the competition, and in this checkout experience, competition can be anybody, it need not be in electronic. Is there any other new feature that they are trying to do? Like for example, no cost EMI, to me, is still an unsolved problem in D2C. There are players, but these are not the mainstream names that people will automatically associate to.
Correct.
Right? Like in offline, we are partnering with the Bajaj, which people understand because that you go to a
everywhere.
Store everywhere, right? Everywhere. But in online, if you talk about X or Y, it's not very natural to the people. They will have to actually believe either boAt or that system to believe that this X brand is actually a good finance company to do that, right?
Yeah.
So no cost EMI is the single biggest factor for, according to me, can make a big difference for us for sure, from a checkout perspective. And second is how seamless the UPI experience is. I don't know whether it's a feature or not. Like recently, when I'm trying to do Blinkit checkout, it doesn't even go to my Google Pay. It somehow gets it solved within the Blinkit app itself.
So within the same.
Within the same, right? It was always a pain point for me as a customer. That you click
it
on
opens
it,
outside.
It opens. We become so bad, right? These days, the expectation is so.
Yeah.
I was like, I wish
it was actually like.
Yeah. So I don't know whether it got solved or not, but I felt it was solved. But if that happens, that would be much better. So yeah. These are the few things that we're thinking about. So after the no cost EMI, right? One of the other things that I really appreciate from a checkout perspective, if the addresses are pre-filled, right? Both from a boAt perspective and from a person as a customer perspective, it makes a lot of sense because your friction is less, the bounce of rate will be lesser, and you can also have some kind of a way to go and buy from a new website, and especially in the world of half of the Instagram shopping and all that, it really helps. The other thing that I was wondering is, maybe you can talk a little bit more and wanted to understand is, how do you build a trust within a new website to go and shop from a checkout page perspective, right? Let's say, for example, there is a website A, which I have never heard, but I've seen an ad. Can I put my credit card there, or is there a better option from a...
Amazing part, by the way, right? I guess.
So this I always wonder, because being in this field, I want to try as many brands as possible. Right? Like if there is anything better, I want to try, like random. But the problem is there are so many frauds that I'm very scared of putting my credit. UPI is a great example there because there is not much risk that I have to go through. Correct. But credit card and net banking, etc., I'm very scared to put in. So I wish there was some, I don't know whether you have a better conversation.
This is exactly something that we are solving for. This is exactly something we're solving for. We do not look at payment from the angle of somebody making a transaction, especially for up and coming D2C brands, as you said, because people want to buy, but they cannot trust the brand. They have not heard. A bigger brand like boAt, people know about it. There is a certainty that if something goes wrong, I can hold somebody accountable and things would be serviced immediately.
Correct.
But with the newer brands, it's a problem. And that is where we solve for the basic trust creation for the merchant side. And I'll tell you how we solve for. And I would have, in the next section, you'll go through the journey yourself and you'll understand it even better. So we trust, if you look back at it, when you used to buy grocery from the kirana store nearby, there was an inherent trust कि मैं आ रहा हूँ, I'll take the saman from you and you'll just note down कि इतना सामान चला गया, and if there is anything which I want tomorrow कि यार ले गया but I'm not even using, or there is anything which I found broken, tampered or anything, I can return back.
Correct.
And I can get the new stuff back.
Yeah.
That is complete trust. I have not even paid money.
Yeah.
He or she, the shopkeeper, mom and pop store, they have written down, and the khata would be settled at the end of the day.
Correct.
Where in case you have returned something, if you want to exchange something, we are here to take care
Correct.
of. And we want to build the same, we want to operate consumers to transact in the same way with newer merchants as well. And that is where our payment options come really, really handy. I do not know whether you've heard of Simpl's Pay Later and Pay in 3 option. We have a one-tap checkout, that's the checkout experience. But Pay Later basically solves for that inherent trust that, hey, I know you don't know me as a brand, and you are here because you like the product, you have added it, and you're just on the final stage of thinking, should I go ahead with this purchase or not? And the moment the person places the order gets placed. Do not need to do anything. If your limit is pre-approved, you just do a right swipe. You place the order, and the money is not taken from you at all right now. There is no money. It's as good as a COD.
Oh, okay. So you have not even taken the money. I thought you will take it and put like an escrow account.
Nothing. No account linkages, no UPI account to billing, nothing to be done right now. It's just we are trusting you as an individual on the basis of your internet purchasing pattern, that Prejit has a good internet purchasing pattern, not your CBO scores and all.
Understood.
And internet purchasing history throughout my merchant network.
Understood.
It's good. I have given you a limit.
Got it.
And on the basis of that limit, you can do this transaction.
Got it.
And tomorrow, when you pay this money back during the cycle, like a credit card cycle is there, we have also our cycles of payment. You pay through us whenever the cycle is due. And when you do that, you'll get your credit limit upgraded automatically. All those things happen. And this solves for that inherent trust that people have. That, okay, I am making the payment right now. I do not need to make the payment right now, but I'll receive the order. If the good is fine, if everything is fine, of course, I will not mind paying and become a repeat customer of this brand as well.
Got it.
So that's where we are.
Makes sense, yeah.
So this brings us to our last section actually. How simple it is to check out using Simple's checkout, right? This is what we're going to do now.
Sure.
And there are a few website options we have. I think you are a Jordan fan, right? Jordan or a sneaker fan. So I'll let you log into one of our merchant partners who are having a great collection of sneakers. You have a look, you add to cart, and then have this experience yourself. Where Ashu will basically start the timer once the add to cart is done, and we will note down the number of seconds it took to check out. Okay. You have opened the website?
Yeah. So the website is super cakes. We have Jordans. We have Nikes.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah,
you just add to the cart and then you will start.
Yeah.
Yeah, the exact same one. Good.
You take your time to decide which sneakers. It's an important decision in life.
Have you used Simpl?
I specifically don't remember, but should have, right? You guys are present across so many places.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pay later is there.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah.
Actually, that's interesting.
That's interesting, right?
Yeah.
And you have never interacted with us. You have never done anything with us. But on the basis of the limit allotted and the nature of the size of the product. If it was a 15,000, it would have been difficult to give you the limit. But if you keep on showing good behavior of repaying us, we'll increase it to 15,000, eventually to 25,000.
Oh, that's very interesting. Actually, I was thinking there'll be one more step in between for sure.
No step, just one. It's actually truest form of one-tap checkout.
Got it.
And this is not linked with any of your bank accounts. You don't need to fill in any of your card numbers because there is trust issue over there. We are solving for that trust over here.
Got it. And then this I go and pay where?
You'll get notification on your email or your phone number that you've registered with, and you have to just download the app at that point of time whenever the bill cycle is due.
Got it.
And you get a 5-day grace period beyond that billing cycle date also. And there's a lot of leeway over there.
Got it.
And you will be surprised to know that despite of this trust that we have entrusted across so many users, our delinquency rates are lesser than the delinquency rates of credit cards.
Got it.
So entirely credit goes to our data science team who works on it to make sure that
right people checking.
they are doing that part, that they're giving this to the right people.
Understood.
Otherwise, this could be very easily
Absolutely.
misused, right?
Absolutely.
So if somebody is not approved, they will not even see.
Got it.
They'll not even see that.
That's actually impressive. Like I was actually surprised to see this.
Yes. See, that's the part, and that's where I was said this is completely selfish, right? And I want this part to happen. You know, when people use it, they'll realize, okay, that actually is something that can add value to businesses or not.
Correct.
And as a consumer, would you feel that I will be using this again? Or
I think that comes to the part where the Simpl as a brand have to be like more mainstream for me to like. I know Simpl.
Yeah.
Like, how do you make sure that more and more people are aware that it's safe to do this?
It's safe to do this. You think there could be a back at the head thought that is it safe to do this? Or not?
Because at the end of the day, a consumer mindset is whenever you're getting something for free or you're taking money from somewhere, there is an inherent risk attached to it, right? Let's say you go and ask my father or somebody to take a loan, they'll only take it from SBI.
Yeah.
They will never take from HDFC.
Yeah.
Somehow they trust in SBI more than HDFC.
Yes.
So anything to do with money, I think the brand associating with it has to be very, very strong and very familiar.
I do understand. And here is where our partnerships have helped us a lot, right? Swiggy, Zomato, Blinkit, Zepto, everywhere. On Zomato, we have a significant wallet share. I cannot share because we are on the camera right now, and we have a significant wallet share across. In Swiggy, we just launched very recently in December, and in a very short period of 30 days, we reached to a great wallet share over there as well, right?
Got it.
So because of all these associations in Tier 1, Tier 2, and with the Mishos of the world in Tier 3, Tier 4, we have a good brand awareness for the consumer who basically interacts with us a lot. We have roughly around 3 million plus active users monthly.
Got it.
So that makes for that part a little easier. And of course, inshallah, we keep on working towards this part and we keep on growing. It's a flywheel that will keep on feeding itself.
Got it.
So that's where the part happens. But you're right that so for now for a new merchant, it helps that a person who is buying has interacted with Simpl and used Simpl on Zomato or Swiggy or anywhere else.
Correct.
And that's where the trust comes in. Oh, they Simpl. Nah, so they are on Zomato and every good.
It's a flywheel, like you said.
That's where it helps us.
Cool. Just one last one from my side on a similar line. So we keep creating these loyalty programs and all that. Each individual brand, like boAt, has our own loyalty program. Is there anything that you guys are working on where some of this can be unified? Let's say I buy something from Swiggy, something from boAt, something from SuperKicks, and I'm using the same set of people to pay that through.
And all my loyalty coins accumulated there.
Something like that, because it's such a effort and waste of effort to create it at a single platform. Like boAt loyalty program is only for boAt hits, right? Like I wish I can tell that take this and use it somewhere else. Like
and use it somewhere else.
Yeah, we are trying to talk to Flipkart for Flipkart Coin, Amazon for Amazon Pay, etc., etc. But this is not our primary business. Like I have a partnership guy, and I don't understand. It's not my cup of tea, right? Like to go and convert Flipkart coins to put it in is not my business. It's a opportunity loss for me. I should have put that time in selling one more headphone.
Absolutely.
So can you guys solve some of those problems?
So this is we do a lot of DPCs back in office. What are DPCs? After 8 p.m. we do Daru Pe Charcha. Okay, we sit down and we talk about it, and you'll be surprised to know we're sitting at this Indranagar social yesterday, and the person who leads the product part of this entire payments and other things were like, "Ye mujhe banana hai." Exactly last night conversation. Ye mujhe banana hai. Exactly same night conversation that there are so many coins scattered. You'll be surprised to know the amount of money that people can use from these coins and are not being used is amazingly high. It's in hundreds of crores of rupees.
Like that's my biggest. Like we have something called boAt coins in our smartwatches.
Yeah.
You walk for 5,000 steps or 10,000 steps, you get boAt coins. People have accumulated so many boAt coins, and there is no way for them to redeem that beyond the point. How many headphones will you buy? How many wearables will you buy?
Want it to be used anywhere else, right?
Anywhere else. So we are starting a team to go and hunt down partnerships. We have it. Our competitors have it. All of us are individually sitting and developing a team which is not core to my business.
Yeah.
We will come and talk to a Book My Show or somebody give us at 20% discount, this, that. It is not my job.
Yeah.
I wish somebody solves this first.
And you do not need a person to be driving these partnerships,
Absolutely.
right?
I just want to say that, my hardware can do this. My software backend can create that, whatever the loyalty program, then some other person whose primary job is this should take it and make it easier for customer.
Completely aligned for this part. We're building the product side of it, and I guess we can build the partnership side of it as well. Would want to do that because for us it makes sense at an aggregate level for so many D2C merchants.
Correct.
It makes so much sense for us.
Absolutely.
Pleasure, yeah. Pleasure.
Awesome,
It's been a great time speaking to you, and you turned out to be as bit of the college stud that everybody had told before. The girls were drooling over in your college campus. Does it still happen?
No, that's just when I had hair.
I don't think so. That's gonna change that. I guess this look is suiting you really well as well. But does that still happen? The girls drooling over?
No.
We'll not show this to your wife. Don't worry.
No, she will only mind if it's Korean, so it's fine.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. And I got to know about one more interesting thing, that you go dress as Kancha to all the parties that you have, to all the Halloween parties and Aman's birthday as well.
Correct. It suits me, right? Like at the end of the day, I just have to wear a black shirt and I'm done.
And you're done. Thanks a lot, Prejit, for taking time out. Has been a wonderful conversation and been insightful as well. And hoping to have much more chats with you in the future.
Absolutely. Let's connect. It was super fun talking to you. I think sometimes it really helps when somebody like you can drive the conversation, right? These things are there in the mind where you never structure it. So it helps. It helps to introspect, and it was fun.
Sure. We'll be chatting much more. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
All right,
Thank
man.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.